All right, we will call the meeting to order. This is the Richland Township Zoning Hearing Board meeting for Thursday, January 15th, 2026. We will start by calling roll. Al McCray.
Here.
Todd Cook.
Here.
John Kurdock.
Here.
And I am Joe Geib. Next on the agenda, since it's the first meeting of the new year, is we're going to handle our reorganization business. First up is reorganization under supervision of a temporary chairperson, just so we could do the reorganization business. Is there a motion to select a temporary chairperson for the purposes of reorganization?
I nominate Todd Cook.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Todd, let's handle the reorg.
Okay, the first order of the organization is the nomination of a chairperson. I nominate Joe Geib as a chairperson for 2026.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Well, I guess the third subject, is the nomination of the vice chairperson for the 2026 zoning hearing.
I nominate Todd Cook.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The fourth is to receive nominations to elect the secretary. I nominate Joe McCray.
I'll second Al McCray.
Al McCray, sorry. Al.
Just don't call me late for supper.
All in favor?
Aye.
The fifth is to receive a nomination for the zoning hearing board solicitor. Nomination? Or
I nominate Brown, Cook, and Lynch.
I'll second the nomination. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. That should end the reorganization meeting. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion we adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you, Todd. Next on our regular business meeting is approval of the minutes. We have the minutes from our last meeting, which was back in June 26th, 2025. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as drafted.
I second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries for the approval of the minutes. Next on the agenda is our first application of the evening. It is Kevin Holdings LLC, address of 1113 Northwest End Boulevard, tax map parcel number 36-005-046001. It is an E19, E19 automotive repair use, and they have variance requests. Subject property is located within a planned commercial zoning district and further lies within the AC Arterial Corridor Overlay Zoning District. There's an existing E19 automotive repair establishment doing business as Midas of Melody Lakes. The applicant is seeking the following variance request for construction of a 30-foot by 50-foot non-residential accessory building totaling 1,500 square feet. First, they're looking for a variance from Chapter 27, Section 512.c to increase the current non-conforming impervious coverage of 29,166 square feet to 29,735 square feet. Secondly, they're looking for a variance from Chapter 27, Sections 513, 514K, and 557 to allow the proposed non-residential accessory building to be 16.4 feet from the side property line and 11.39 feet from the rear property line and from the special setback floodplain line. Finally, they're looking for a variance from Chapter 27, Section 516, 27516-1 to not provide buffer yard plantings along the side and rear yards. The application was submitted administratively complete on November 25th, 2025. 60-day MPC timeframe to hold the zoning hearing board is valid until January 23rd, 2026. Zoning hearing board is scheduled for January 15th, 2026. All right, can we please have all the witnesses swearing in?
Please raise your right hand. Please swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right, and can we please hear from Mr. Brittingham regarding the administration?
Yes, I'd like to just make a few other remarks. The advertisement for this application was advertised for the 2 consecutive weeks in the Intelligencer. That was December 21st, 2025, and December 28th, 2025. The property owners within 500 feet were notified by letter. My letter was dated December 15th, 2025, and the property was posted to meet at least the 1 week minimum placement in advance to the hearing, and that was posted on January 5th, 2026. If I may, I'd like to enter into record a memo that I have provided that the Board of Supervisors reviewed the relief that was being sought for this variance request at their meeting on January 5th. They took no position, no action on the matter, but I would like to enter this into the record.
Okay, the board will accept the memo dated January 6, 2026 as Township's Exhibit 1.
And I'd just like to add just a couple other comments, a little bit of history on this. The applicant will probably allude to this, but I just wanted to make note that in addition to the board reviewing this application on the 5th for the relief being sought where they took no position on the matter, the applicant also had requested a waiver of land development. The supervisors granted that waiver of land development subject to certain conditions. Obviously, one of those would be obtaining the zoning hearing board relief. So there were some other items, but I just will mention that if the board were to grant these variances this evening, the applicant would, one of the conditions, the applicant would proceed with submitting a earth disturbance, erosion, and sedimentation grading plan. But I just wanted to put that out there and give you a little summation on the history of that as well. That's all my comments.
All right, thank you. Can we please hear from the applicant now?
Good evening, Gavin Lebowski on behalf of Heaven Holdings LLC. To my left is Kevin Bohovic. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And to my right is Scott McMacken from Cowan Associates. Cowan prepared the plan that was submitted with the application. I'm going to hand out some exhibits to the board, if I may. What I'd like to do, if the board pleases, is provide some summary of the application to try to get through some of the mundane items about the property, and then have Kevin and Scott talk in some more detail, in particular about what he intends to do with the building, and Scott to talk about the variances and some of the hardships associated with the property. If that pleases the board, I can try to streamline this a little bit to get through some of the basics and get into the heart of the application, if that's okay.
Yeah, proceed.
Thank you. So first of all, Heaven Holdings has owned the property since 2018. We provided in the exhibit packet a copy of the deed along with a Board of Assessment printout. Those are marked as A2 and A3. Kevin's a mechanic. He's an automotive technician and has been an owner of a Midas franchise since 2007 and been at this location since 2018. The property is about 0.85 acres. The building that exists, according to the county assessment record, was built in 1966. It's approximately 5,762 square feet. Inside the building, there are 5 lifts and 5 bays, a large waiting room, a private office, 2 bathrooms for customers, a bathroom in the shop area for employees. Take a look at the photographs. You can see the photograph A4. I know that all of you are probably familiar with this property, but it sits next to the Melody Lakes complex on 309 with another commercial use to the north of it. As you know, 309 is a heavily traveled four-lane open highway with commercial uses. Their closest residential use is quite some distance away in the Melody Lakes manufactured home community. Looking at photographs A5 through A10, and I'll have Kevin testify about these in a little more detail. You can see the exterior to the rear of the building. All of those photographs relate to the rear. Currently, the business has 8 employees, including Kevin and his wife Heather, who own the company. They operate from Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're closed on Sundays. They have licenses for oil removal and antifreeze, and they recycle scrap metal and tires. They do not intend to use any hazardous materials or anything in this new building. The proposed changes include the construction of the 1,500 square foot pole building, and as you see in the photographs, much of the material in the back there, and we're going to go through that in a minute, will be stored in this building. The desire to build the building is to clean up the rear of the property to try to remove some of that debris and those items, trucks, forklift, different equipment that's used as a part of the business into the building and undercover. There may also be in the future, depending on the need, the ability to install 2 above-ground lifts in that shop so that the shop's equipment that's only used occasionally could be worked on in there. So in other words, there's a snow plow that they use to plow the parking lot, and other equipment could be used in there. In addition, as you all know, there's a lot of technology in vehicles these days, cameras that look out the side and the front and the rear, and it gives you a picture of everything around you. As that technology increases in automobiles, the need for technicians to work on those kinds of cars and calibrate those systems is necessary. So Kevin in the future would like to add that system. It's called an ADAS system, and it takes up space about the size of an automobile, a typical passenger vehicle, and it could possibly be used in this building in the future if the need arises. And essentially an employee would work in there for an hour to an hour and a half at a time using the system, calibrating a vehicle's advanced driver assistance system. I want to turn it over and ask Kevin some questions about his use and what he intends to do and go through the photographs, and then we'll have Mr. McMacken testify about the variances and the hardship associated with the property. So I think Rich wants us to each hold a microphone. Let's put this here for you. Okay. Oh, thanks. Kevin, you heard my summary of the testimony so far, and had I asked you questions related to that, would you have answered substantially similar to my summary?
Yes.
All right. Can you take a look at the photographs that we've marked, beginning with A5, and can you tell the board what it is that we see here and which items would go in this building that you intend to construct?
You can see the tractor, there's a dump truck, and actually on the other side of that, there's actually a forklift. Those sheds are full of like equipment that we use that we take back and forth because we just don't have enough room to store it. Certain lifts for like engine hoists and transmission jacks, things like that, that we just don't keep sitting around all the time. So right now they're kind of full, but yeah, those things would all go in there just to try to give us a little more parking in the back for our own vehicles and employees, but also mainly to clean it up.
So looking at A6, then, we see what appears to be sort of a shipping container, a shed covered in black tarp, and then another shipping container. Is that correct?
Yes.
And are those the buildings that you just testified house some of that equipment that you use occasionally?
Yes.
I see the truck with a gray tailgate. Is that the snowplow?
Yes.
And that's a snowplow that you use as a part of plowing your parking lot, correct?
Yes.
You don't operate a commercial snowplowing business on the side out of this location?
No.
And there appears to be a Kubota-type tractor there. Does that belong to the company as well?
Yes.
I see a pile of tires there. Can you tell us what happens with those tires?
We have to get an amount of used tires together large enough for like a box truck to come and pick them up, and then we have them hauled away by a licensed recycler. So usually every month, sometimes every other month, depending on how many tires we sell.
And it's not your plan to put the tires inside the building, is that
No.
right? Okay, they would remain outside?
Yes.
All right. Taking a look at A7, and again, we see the dump truck, the Kubota, and the tires. There's also a boat to the left of the picture there. Who owns that?
That's mine. It's just sitting there instead of sitting in my yard, but I would move that.
You would move that as a part of this? Okay. Take a look at A8, the next photograph. And again, the dump truck, there's a forklift that you mentioned before, correct?
Yes.
And then there appears to be a snowmobile under a tarp,
Yes.
Is that-
That's mine.
and that'll go away as well.
Yes.
There's a red pickup truck there. Is that your personal vehicle?
Yes.
Turning to A9, same photographs, same material, correct?
Yes.
And again, those containers in the shed would be removed and
Yes.
the material stored inside the proposed pole building.
Yes.
All right. And finally, A10, again, the same area, and the idea is to clean this area up so that the only thing that exists back there would be the tires and the 1,500 square foot pole building, correct?
Correct.
And this is necessary for your business to function efficiently?
Yes, because those buildings are dilapidated and they're leaking, and I've patched them as much as I could for now, but it's just kind of unsightly. So I was trying to make it better and easier for the guys to transfer stuff back and forth and keep things inside.
This building that you're building, would it add additional employees to your company?
No,
Would it change the hours of operation?
no,
Do you believe it would have an adverse impact on the surrounding property owners?
no.
You're familiar with the plan that Cow and Associates prepared, correct?
Yes,
And you understand that there's a creek and a floodplain to the rear of the property, correct?
yes.
During your ownership since 2018, have you ever experienced any flooding on your property from that creek?
No, and I've been there during the worst of the times, and it wasn't close enough to even concern me.
Do you have any other flooding or drainage issues on the property?
No,
Have you ever had complaints from neighbors about flooding or drainage from your property?
no,
Have you had any complaints from your neighbors about your business operations?
no,
No violations with the township, correct?
none.
Now, you've selected the building at 1,500 square feet. Can you give the board an idea of why you've chosen that square footage?
With what we have now, that little extra would actually make it feasible, make it work for what we have. I don't see how else I could do anything smaller.
When you say a little extra, that extra 1,500 square feet,
Yes, removing all the sheds and being able to have that much storage would be perfect. And then if we had to add the ADOS, which I plan on doing eventually, because we're probably going to have to as we adapt, we'd have that extra bay back there we could use probably for that, an extra space, because you have to set up targets and it's a little time consuming.
then the last question is, you're a Midas franchise. Have you been in touch with Midas to make sure that this is acceptable to them?
Yes, they actually would like to see things straightened out and organized better.
Okay. Those are all the questions that I have for Mr. Verhoeven. If we can stop, if you guys want to ask him, and then I'll go into Mr. McMacken.
Sure, we'll ask some questions.
I have no questions of him.
Is there anything, I'm seeing some of these pictures, I know we talked about, the snowmobile, the red truck, the black plow truck. Some of the other pictures, I see other vehicles in the back, like this black Chevy S10, covered trailer, a white sedan, like, are any of these intended to go in there? Are these long-term storage on the lot? Can you provide any direction?
The little black truck is what they call our scrap truck. And scrap metal gets loaded into that, and then it gets hauled away.
Got it.
Yeah. The trailer is actually for the El Camino that's sitting over there that I'm trying to finish. It's just a project of mine. But it usually stays in that trailer, and I keep it at my house. But it's been there for pretty much of the summer just because I haven't finished the car.
Mhm.
And the snowmobile's usually at my house too, but the way the snow's been, I'm thinking about just getting rid of it. So it's down there and so I can show it to people.
Got it, okay. All right, you could proceed with Mr.
Great,
McMacken.
thank you. I think that you all know Scott McMacken and his experience. Could we have him qualify as an expert in zoning, land use, and civil
The
engineering?
board recognizes Scott as an expert.
Thank you very much. Scott, your office prepared these plans. I'd like to just walk through I'd like to walk through each of the variances, but first, can you tell us what your office did to prepare the plan?
Our office first did a site survey, a boundary and topographic survey, generated the existing features plan, did the zoning analysis, and then prepared the plans that were submitted with the application, showing the improvements and then all of the zoning criteria. And we submitted first to the township with the land development waiver request, and then subsequently to the zoning hearing board once we did receive a review from the township engineer, Gilmore Associates.
And to confirm what Mr. Brittingham already testified to, the application has received a favorable vote for a waiver of land development.
That's correct, yes.
Subject to certain conditions, including an E&S plan and grading plan, correct?
Correct.
All right. Does the property contain some non-conforming conditions?
It does. Right now, up here is the one of the plans in the plan set. So this is the property is sort of this polygon shape here. Right now, it's non-conforming in terms of impervious coverage. You can see the majority of the lot. This line in the rear here is the limit of pavement. So the entire front portion of the lot is all paved. There's a small portion in the back that's not. But currently, the lot is 89% impervious coverage, which exceeds the 85% limit in the PC zoning district.
Is the building also non-conforming with respect to the front setback and the rear yard towards the right?
Yeah. The on the plan here, the dash line is indicating the various yards. So this front line here that I'm highlighting, kind of about the middle of the lot, that's the front yard setback. That includes the 100-foot setback from the arterial overlay corridor district. This one that follows on the angle here, this is the rear yard. There's another rear yard here, so essentially these two rear lot lines are considered rear yards, and then the side yard over to the left of the plan. So the existing building, the 5,700 square foot building, is kind of centered in the lot. So it is non-compliant with regards to the front yard setback, the rear yard setback here, and the side yard setback here.
Noticing that the rear yard setback for the smaller property line is taken from the edge of the floodplain line and not from the edge of the property line, correct?
Yeah, that's one of the requests. You can see here that the creek that was being talked about kind of runs along and clips the back of the property. This heavier dashed line that I'm highlighting here is labeled 100-year floodplain. This is the FEMA floodplain limit. So per the ordinance, the setback, the building setback, is actually taken from the limits of the floodplain line, not the actual rear property line. So that pushes it a little bit forward. But that's where that's so this rear property line here that's shown is taken off the floodplain limit.
And that further reduces the available building envelope, correct?
Correct.
The use that's being proposed is identified as the H6 non-residential accessory use under the ordinance, correct?
Yes, correct.
And that's a use that's permitted as a special exception in the AC overlay, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. And the E19 is permitted as a conditional use, correct?
Yes, correct.
Let's talk about the impervious surface. You mentioned the maximum permitted is 85%. The existing is 89%. The proposal on the plan is 90%. Can you just give us an idea of what's being added and taken away, if you will?
Yeah, so there's the proposed 1,500 square foot accessory building is the rectangle that I'm highlighting here in the rear of the property. So you can see a portion of the building actually is over existing impervious, so that's net zero. But there is a little bit that we'll go into. There's some area that's stone here, but there's a small area here that is currently pervious. It's about 570 square feet of additional impervious that will be created. So that bumps it up from the current 89%, will go up to 90% impervious cover.
Is it your opinion that that increase of 1% is de minimis?
I do believe so, yes.
And you believe it won't have any negative impact on stormwater, the stream, or any neighboring properties?
No, I don't. And we will be, the next step would be to submit the grading and stormwater management application to the township, and that would be, reviewed at that point.
The next variances relate to setbacks. I'll just read them out. There's a side yard setback of 16.14 feet where 30 feet is required, and a rear yard of 11.39 from the edge of the floodplain line, and 18.26 feet on the other rear property line where 50 feet is required. Can you just briefly show those on the plan?
Yeah, so they're labeled on the plan. The 16 feet from the sideline is this dimension here.
To the left of the proposed building?
To the left of the proposed building. Directly behind the building, this dimension here is the 11.3 feet dimension, so that's measured off again the floodplain line. And then the 18-foot dimension is this one here off the rear property line.
And there are already structures and material located in these areas, correct?
Yes, there are.
And there's no material increase of the distance between those existing structures and what's being proposed, correct?
No, the areas out in those photographs, essentially the two shipping containers are here and here, and then the temporary structure is in that same area. So the pictures that you were looking at, essentially match where this building is proposed.
And the locations being proposed sort of towards the left of the property line, closer than the existing building, is necessary so that access can be achieved from the one side of the building, correct?
Correct, yes.
And there's only, just so we're clear, there's only one access to the rear, and that's to the right as we look at the plan?
Correct.
There's insufficient room on the left-hand side for vehicles, safety, fire trucks, et cetera.
Yeah, it's too tight for vehicles.
Okay. The third variance relates to the buffer yards, and under the ordinance, buffer yards are required along the rear and the side yard, correct?
Correct.
To the rear of the property, and we can see on the aerial photograph A4, there's a substantial area of existing vegetation, correct?
Correct.
Right. What's the reason for this variance?
Well, as you can see, again, the majority of the property is currently paved and impervious. So these existing areas that would be required to have buffer yards are currently have paved areas associated with them. And then in the rear area, we are proposing the improvements in that area as well.
So again, given the fact that there's only one access to the rear of the property, if you were to eliminate that paving on the right-hand side and put buffer there, you'd lose access to the rear of the property.
That's correct.
Okay. And this use has existed prior to the ordinance, I'm sorry, this building has existed prior to the ordinance requiring buffering?
Correct, yes.
And the lot is undersized under the ordinance as well. The minimum is 1 acre, correct?
Correct, yes. So it is substandard in terms of size.
So let's talk about some of the unique physical circumstances. I think you touched on them, but let's just highlight them. You have the two rear property lines in the back, which have greater setbacks than a side yard. They have 50 feet rather than 30 feet, correct?
That's correct.
And that creates a smaller building envelope available for the property owner?
Yes, it does.
The lot is undersized, as we just talked about. In your experience, is it feasible to develop a lot that's under an acre in today's requirements in terms of a commercial use, including parking, a building, access, loading, all of the requirements that you need?
Not of this size. You could fit a smaller building, probably a 3,000 square foot building, 4,000 square foot building, but this building's close to 6,000 square feet. I don't think you'd be able to do it today.
And turning it around, if you were to install an E19 use on a property, you certainly wouldn't be looking at properties that are less than an acre for all that you need, correct?
Right, correct.
And also the existence of the creek and the floodplain to the rear, again, reduces the envelope in the area that the applicant can expand their non-conforming building, correct?
That's correct.
One of the options of any property owner would be to build an addition to the building instead of the standalone accessory structure. The ordinance allows for an increase of a non-conforming building by 50%. That 50% in this case would exceed what's being proposed by the applicant?
It would, yes.
Okay. And so is it your opinion that it makes more sense to build a standalone smaller building than try to sort of fit an addition on the existing building given the level of construction that would be required to modify a building built in 1966?
Yeah, I think there's several reasons. I think that's certainly one, and there's, there's bays that are associated with this. It would be very difficult to try to tie this, put an addition on the building without interrupting the current use of the building, and we'd still probably we would definitely need to come in for variances anyway.
And you agree that the hardship is not self-created,
Correct.
and that the variance, if authorized, would not alter the essential character of the neighborhood or substantially impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent properties?
No, it wouldn't. I think it would improve it, actually.
Okay. And do you think that this will increase or detrimentally affect the floodplain or the creek that flows to the rear of the property?
No, it will not.
Those are all the questions that we have for Mr. McMacken. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does the board have any questions?
I have a question. The proposed accessory building, you don't show a distance between that and I don't see it, and the existing building. I mean, the closer you move that to the existing building would be the least, less impervious surface. What is that distance, and how did you determine how far off the existing building your new building had to be?
It's about 20 feet between the building and about 20 feet between the building. And that was just to be able to allow still to get things out of that building and into the other building, and to be able to operate in between. And, eventually if they do need to pull a car in there, to be able to get cars in and out of that building, and get the equipment in and out of the building.
Okay, so that'd be a requirement based on use, not any ordinance as far as safety or distances between accessory buildings and
I do believe that there are requirements. I think 20 feet is the minimum
I mean, is that correct, Rich? I mean, I guess not.
for a non-residential accessory. I think there's a,
Okay. I want to make sure why this building isn't closer, which would decrease the amount of impervious surface you would be adding to the
it just wouldn't be
lot.
functional to be able to pull, pieces of equipment, and, you need at least 20 feet to be able to get if they want to pull the forklift out of there, to be able to use it.
There's also a bay on the back of the building where the guys come out with vehicles.
Right.
If it gets too close, like if somebody parks back there too close to they can't get out and turn and get out of there.
Yeah, there's bays in the back of this building here.
My question.
What is, obviously, the creek is on the one short side of the back property line. What's along the longer right-hand side? What's back there behind the?
It's a grassy area
Okay.
that goes toward Melody Lakes, where they have their ponds down there.
Okay.
And there's a few trees around the edge of the property, but there's trees back there too. That point is mainly full of vegetation.
Okay.
You can see on A4, Mr. Craig, there's an aerial photograph. There's two aerial photographs, sorry.
That's all the questions I have.
This is all trees back there.
All right. Do you have anything else?
We have nothing else. We would move for the admission of A1 through A10, and we rest. Thank you so much.
Board will receive exhibits A1 through A10 as applicants, exhibit 1 through 10.
All right, that being said, let's go to the audience. If the audience has any questions on the testimony given by the applicant. Let the record show that there is no one interested from the audience. Any further questions, gentlemen? All right, we will take a brief recess and discuss the case.
I can see it as a practical difficulty. If there's bays coming out of the existing building and that can 20 feet away, how does that turn?
functional.
Makes sense to me.
Isn't he planting, so, what else is he looking for? Plantings, setbacks. What are you gonna do?
No one's spoken in opposition to it.
Right. Should clean the place up, hopefully.
Well, we'll get the junk out, at least junk will be stored someplace.
Right.
It'll be
Junk
nice.
will be inside the
Then
house.
they'll put new junk.
Right, well, yes.
Isn't that how it is?
That's
It'll be good looking junk.
always work.
I mean, you get a nice big shed out back there.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Well, they fool themselves up.
Yes.
Out of sight, out of
Night.
mind, right?
Yes. Yes, I know.
I don't wanna move it to get it, to get the thing I want out.
I can see getting a snowplow out of a 20-foot building, trying to make that turn.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he puts it in the customer bay, whatever. Okay.
All right, we are back from recess, and we are willing to discuss the case at all. If there is a motion, I'm willing to entertain one.
I'll make a motion to accept the request for the 3 variances and approve the 3 variances as requested.
I second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Good luck with the project.
Good luck.
Oh my, I gotta read all this?
I read it yesterday.
You have to read all this, Rich?
Look at the packet he's got. Oh, my God.
I gotta tell him when we home later. Shift gears. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter. Yeah. All right, we ready to proceed with the second one? All right. This is our second hearing of the evening. Richland Associates LLC variance request for 1300 and 1320 Northwest End Boulevard, Township map, parcel numbers 36-006-006 and 36-006-007 for an E17 car wash and G3 warehouse. Please note, this was continued from Thursday, December 11th, 2025 to today's date of Thursday, January 15th, 2026. Subject property lies within the planned commercial zoning district and AC arterial corridor overlay zoning district. Seeking following variances for a proposed E17 car wash and a G3 warehouse. First, they're looking for a variance from 27-513 to allow the proposed access drives for both parcels and uses to be located within the 50-foot rear yard setback. Second, they're looking for a variance from 27513 to allow the access drive for the warehouse proposed on parcel 3600607 to be within the 30-foot building setback line on the north side of the proposed warehouse. Third, they're looking for a variance from 27516-2C to allow a portion of the warehouse loading area on parcel 3600607 to be located within the 100-foot rear yard buffer. Fourth, they're looking for a variance from 27541-9 to allow G3 to allow 9 parking spaces associated with the warehouse on parcel 3600607, where 16 parking spaces is required. A variance from 27911.1.A1 to allow a freestanding sign with 182 square feet on the other parcel, 3600606, where 150 square feet is permitted. Number 6, they're looking for variance from 27909-1A to allow incidental signs to be no greater than 6 square feet on the aforementioned parcel, where the maximum permitted is 2 square feet. 7, they're looking for a variance from 27-911.1.A to allow additional freestanding signs if the incidental signs are approved on the aforementioned parcel. 8th, they're looking for a variance from 27516-2C to allow signs within the required buffer yard on both parcels. 9th and final, they're looking for a variance from 27604 to allow signs in the required 100-foot setback from West End Boulevard. All right, can we please have everybody sworn in?
Swear testimony you're about to give, Mr. Brown, will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
All right, can we please hear from Mr. Brittingham regarding the case?
Okay, just a few cleanup items before I give a summation on this project. So we did advertise this in the Intelligencer for two consecutive weeks. That was November 21st, 2025, and November 28th, 2025. Property owners within 500 feet were notified by a letter that I had sent out November 12th, 2025. And the properties were posted December 3rd, 2025, at least 1 week in advance to the hearing. If I may, I'd like to enter 2 things into the record. The first item is a letter I received from Gavin Lebowski. As I mentioned, I had posted the property December 3rd. The original hearing was going to be on December 11th. So I'm just entering this into the record to confirm that a continuance of the hearing from that date to this evening was.
We'll mark the letter from Mr. Lebowski to Mr. Brittingham dated December 11th, 2025, Township Exhibit 1.
And then the second item is this was a memo prepared by Vicki Schuler on December 8th, 2025. The Board of Supervisors reviewed the relief that was being requested, and the list of variances was listed in this memo, and the Board of Supervisors took no action on the matter before then.
Will we mark the memo from Vicki Schuler to Mr. Brittingham dated December 8th, 2025 as Township's Exhibit 2?
I'd just like to make a couple comments. Originally, a sketch plan review was submitted for this project, so our engineer has done reviews. It's been before the township. They also have submitted a conditional use application for the AC district, and the warehouse is a use that's permitted by conditional use. The E17 car wash is permitted by right, but they have a pending conditional use application, and they also have a preliminary final land development submission into the township. If the applicant obtains the relief, the applicant will proceed with the conditional use and preliminary final plans, and they would go to the Richland Township Planning Commission for the conditional use, preliminary final for recommendations on those, and then the Board of Supervisors would have the authority over the conditional use and the preliminary final land development. Those are all my comments for now.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brittingham. Can we please hear from the applicant?
Good evening, Gavin Lebowski, on behalf of the applicant Richland Associates LLC. If I could just, a little bit of housekeeping on our side. In preparing for this and in speaking with Mr. Brittingham, we noticed that we need one more variance. It relates to what we've already asked for, but I'll just read it into the record. It would be a variance from Section 27-516.2.c, which we already have, and it relates to the buffer yard. However, we want it to also include the car wash building, a portion of the car wash building, and the access drive on the car wash property, which is identified as 1320 Northwest End Boulevard, and that's 36-6-6. Again, it relates to the existing variances that are already a part of the record. We just want to make sure that we include everything so we don't have to come back to you folks. With that, I'd like to, I guess, Mr. Kurdock, is it necessary to have a motion to accept that amendment, or can we just proceed?
We can proceed with it.
Thank you.
I think we're okay with it, Rich.
I'm fine with that,
Yeah.
Let me hand up some exhibits, if I may. So before I get into testimony, let me introduce Jim Dale to my right, who is the owner of Richland Associates LLC, and Estelle Eberhardt, who's a professional engineer to my left. She's with Horizon Engineering. That's the company that prepared the plans that are before you, which are part of the land development submission that the township is in the process of reviewing. I want to take a minute to go through the exhibits, just a few minutes so that everyone's on the same page. A1 is the application which was previously submitted. I haven't reproduced that here because we don't need another copy. A2 is the revised site plan. So as a part of the land development process, as you know, the engineer issues review letters, and it causes the engineer for the applicant to have to make changes to the plan. And so we wanted to submit the most recent version of the plan, which is dated November 7, 2025. A3 is a CV of Ms. Eberhardt, which we'll introduce in order to have her qualify as an expert. A4 is an existing features and demolition plan. Again, this is taken from the plan set of November 7, 2025. A5 is aerial photograph of the subject parcels. A6 are some street photographs taken from 309. A7 is another plan. This was submitted with the application, but we have it before you. This is a plan that shows the location of the signs that are proposed and a part of the variance requests. A8 is a set of plan rendering, or sign renderings, I should say, and that'll show you what the proposed signage on the building is going to look like. And based upon those, we've generated the list of variances with, I should say, tremendous help from Mr. Brittingham. A9 is a set of car wash water recycling specifications. We're not going to read that whole document, but to give you an idea, Mr. Dale is going to testify about how the recycling of the water occurs as a part of the car wash. A10 is a prior zoning decision from this board of May 5, 2000. And again, that's going to be relevant in terms of some of the relief granted in that decision is incorporated into the property, and we don't need relief from certain provisions, and we'll touch on that a little bit. And that's through confirmation through Mr. Brittingham as well. A11 is a plan that we prepared just for tonight's hearing. And this is probably, I think, one of the easiest to sort of look at and use if you want to reference something while we're testifying. And what this plan shows is in purple, you can see the existing chicken coop gravel, and the other buildings that exist on the property. You can sort of hunt around and find them. And that is overlaid on the proposed car wash and the warehouse buildings and parking and what have you. And then in red, you'll see the permitted building envelope for each lot. So it gives you an idea of a little bit of a before and after of the property, what's being proposed. And the purpose, of course, is to illustrate, we're going from sort of a haphazard development to a unified, more complying development. So with that, I'm prepared to call these witnesses and begin with Mr. Dale if the board is ready.
You can proceed.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dale, can you confirm that you are the owner of Richland Associates LLC? Yes. And you purchased these properties in what year? 2014, right?
Sounds right.
I don't want to make you a guess. You also own an adjacent property to the south of this. Is that right?
Correct.
And what's that property used for?
Pelican pools.
You got to use the microphone. Sorry.
Pelican pools.
And what does Pelican Pools sell?
Swimming pools, ski and snowboard equipment, hot tubs, patio furniture, supplies.
How long have you been in business?
30 years.
I want to direct your attention to the two properties that are the subject of tonight's application. And we'll use A11 just because it's a little bigger. Do you see A11 in front of you?
I do.
And that plan is a fair and accurate depiction of the properties that you own?
Yes.
All right. I'd like you to just go around and tell us what exists on the property currently in terms of existing structures, beginning from the right and working your way to the left.
There's a small house on the property, the first lot. I don't know what the number is that. There's a small house there, and then to the north of there, there's a house, a shed, a warehouse in the back, a retail space in the front, chicken coops, a bunch of other junk.
Tell us how each of those buildings are used, again, beginning with the right, moving left.
The house on the south end, it's just vacant, and I think it's been vacant for, I don't think I've ever used it since I've owned that, other than we just use it as storage. The shed is just used as storage. The house was Nevin's Gallery for many years, and they've vacated that property. And then currently the rest of it's just used for warehousing for Pelican.
When did Nevin's Gallery vacate? Do you remember?
I want to say last January, I think.
And that building is currently vacant?
Correct.
You mentioned that many of the buildings are used for storage. What's stored in those buildings?
Stuff for Pelican.
Do you have any employees that are permanently stationed in any of those buildings?
No.
What type of, when you say stuff for Pelican, what type of stuff are we talking about?
Just like our inventory, mostly just inventory for Pelican.
What's the condition of those buildings in general?
They're okay.
What do you mean by okay?
They're beat up. They're old. They've been there a long time. I know that I think the original building was built either 60s or 70s.
Is it feasible to reuse them for any commercial use?
Not efficiently.
Take a look at Exhibit A5, and this is an aerial photograph. That aerial photograph accurately depicts the items that are on the property?
Correct.
The buildings? Okay. Do you know roughly that, I'm looking at the larger building to the left, to the north. How large is that building? That's the old Nevin's Gallery building.
That's the old Peters Pub building.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's, I want to say it's around 13,000 square feet.
Okay. And the house to the right of that, to the south of that, roughly?
Maybe 1,000, 1,500 square feet.
And then finally, the house that's further to the south?
About the same.
Okay. So you'd say you have about 15 to 18,000 square feet of building amongst all those buildings?
Well, more. I'm just talking about the Peters building, I think, is 13,000. The warehouse in the back is another 10 maybe.
So what do you think the total square footage of all those buildings is currently?
Probably 25,000 square feet, somewhere in there.
Okay. let's talk about what your plan is for the property, and we'll stick with Exhibit A11. You show, in the original application, you were proposing one warehouse structure. In this plan that we're showing, there's two structures. Can you tell us what made you decide to do two structures?
There's a sprinkler ordinance, I believe, that if you have, I think over, was it 12,000 square feet, you have to sprinkle that building. So we split it in two to accommodate that.
And what's your plan for that, for those buildings, those storage buildings?
Just warehouse space for Pelican.
So in essence, you would demolish the existing buildings that exist, that are currently used for storage, and put all the storage into these two buildings?
Correct.
Again, same question. Would you have any employees permanently working at that location?
No.
And we see on the plan that those two buildings combined is 14,400 square feet.
Correct.
So it's probably around half or so of what you have in existing square footage now, correct?
Correct.
As a part of this, you're also planning to adjust the lot line. If we look at the revised site plan, which is marked as A2, the lot line between these two properties is not a straight line up and down, is it? It sort of has a jog in it, correct?
Correct.
It's on an angle,
Correct.
and you can see it, lot line to be removed here, correct?
Correct.
And your plan is to adjust that line as a part of the land development application closer towards the south to where the warehouses are proposed. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, continuing north in terms of your proposed improvements to the property, you have a car wash here. Can you tell us what made you decide to have a car wash constructed on the northern lot?
It just seemed it was would fit this property better, and it just worked.
Did you do research on the business feasibility of a car wash at this location?
I did.
And have you consulted with a company to help you with the development of a car wash?
I have.
What did you do? Tell us about that process from beginning to end.
There's a car wash company called Sonny's, which is the largest car wash company out there that makes the equipment. And they basically come in and do a traffic study, demographic study, and, come up with numbers that say whether a car wash is feasible there or not, and they kind of help you through the whole process of developing it.
As a part of that process, did you learn about the recycling of water?
I did.
And tell us about how that works.
We flew out to Texas. There's a company out there that has a recycling system that uses centrifugal force that recycles water, and almost, I don't know what the exact information is, but it's in the packet. And
So looking at A9,
Yep.
we have the specifications. Are these the specifications that you were supplied by the company?
yes,
And if you want to take a minute and highlight some of the specifications that you're familiar with? So while you're looking for that, in addition to recycling, does it also treat the water to remove certain contaminants or chemicals?
it does. It takes all the contaminants out of the water so that the water can be reused as clean water, and separate the chemicals that are being used.
And it's nearly a one-to-one capture on the water?
Correct.
Okay. In addition to the water recycling information that you've been provided and that you learned about, did you also take part in some safety instruction?
I have.
Tell us about that.
For the water or the?
For the entire car
Yeah,
wash.
I actually just went to car wash college. I just got back yesterday. And they go through the safety regulations and what needs to be done and the dangers of car washes. And they're pretty safe units for the most part, as long as you're trained and operate them correctly.
And you received a certificate for your attendance at that class? How long was that?
3 days.
And this company stays involved in the operation after you're up and running, correct?
They do.
And you'll use that company for consulting and other services?
Correct.
Do they provide maintenance services?
They do.
And you intend to be an active owner in this business, correct?
I am.
Do you intend to hire employees as a part of this?
Yes.
How many do you anticipate having
Usually a site has no more than 4 employees on the site.
at a time? What are your anticipated hours of operation?
Probably 7 or 8 in the morning till 7 at night.
And is it all year round, or does weather prevent you from operating all year?
Yeah, you would scale back during the rainy days and days that there's no sense being there.
And the property is served by an on-lot well, correct?
Correct.
Um, I want to direct your attention back to the warehouse, and in particular, the variance regarding the parking. And we know, and Estelle Eberhard is going to testify in a little more detail about the parking variance and the other variances, but the ordinance, under the circumstances, would require you to have 15 spaces, and you're showing 9 spaces. Can you tell us what you think those parking spaces might be needed for?
No. No.
To put it bluntly,
Yeah,
right?
no.
You don't anticipate having employees working there, correct?
No.
So let's say I'm a customer at Pelican and I buy a product that you sell that you store in the warehouse. Would I drive my car over to your warehouse and load it up there, or would you bring it back to the Pelican store?
It would be brought back to Pelican.
So you would have your employees would go and fetch certain products and bring them back, correct?
Correct.
And what kind of deliveries do you currently receive at Pelican in terms of the type of truck?
We get tractor trailers in and out of there, maybe one a day at the very most on average.
Do you get other sorts of box trucks and things like that?
Sometimes, yeah.
Do you anticipate having the same volume of truck traffic in and out of the site after this is built?
Yeah.
And do you anticipate having the same employee involvement at the property after this is built?
Hopefully less.
Okay. So the trucks that are making deliveries, they don't typically take up a parking space, correct?
No.
Customers aren't going to take up a parking space, correct?
No.
And your employees aren't going to park there, correct?
No.
Okay. There will be access, vehicle access between the Pelican property and the warehouse property, correct?
Correct.
Let's look at Exhibit A8, and these are the sign specifications. Can you tell us what you did to develop the sign package that we see in A8, which consists of 2 pages?
I had a sign company develop them for me.
And did you provide input on the look and the size?
Yeah, somewhat, yeah.
Okay. The first page, that shows the pylon sign that's going to be out in front of the car wash, correct?
Correct.
And the specification is 9 by 20, and you believe that that's a sufficient size for your needs?
I do.
And you relied on this sign company to provide you with advice on that?
I did.
Okay. Taking a look at the second page of these specifications, and is that a fair and accurate depiction of what you plan on installing in terms of other signage?
Yes.
And again, did you rely on the company to assist you with this design?
I did.
Now, these signs don't need any variances. We know that the pylon sign is about 32 square feet over what's permitted, correct?
Correct.
Likewise, the interior signage, the directional signage, and again, Ms. Eberhard is going to testify to that, but your request is to have signage no greater than 6 square feet, correct?
Correct.
And you're basing that off of a recent car wash application that received similar relief, and you want to be consistent with what they developed as well, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you believe that that size sign is sufficient so that when people enter the property for the car wash, that they can immediately go where they need to go?
Correct.
Okay. Then just finally on the car wash, just to be clear, it has 1 bay, correct? So 1 car will go in at a time?
One tunnel, yes.
1 tunnel?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, they won't be side by side. It's just a
No,
single
just
lane.
single tunnel, single
Okay.
lane.
And then you have a series of vacuums along the front there. Do you know how many there are off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, no.
Okay. But they're on both sides of that access,
They
correct?
Maybe
and-
20.
And you anticipate having the employees there all the time while it's open, correct?
Correct.
What are those employees tasked with doing while the car wash is open?
One would be stationed at the pay stations. There'd be another person stationed at the entrance to the car wash, directing cars to get on the conveyor. There'll be someone on the tail end coming out, and then there'll be probably a person in the lot.
And will they be trained in the safety and the maintenance and those sorts of things as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Those are all the questions that I have with Mr. Dale.
All right, thank you. Does the board have any questions on that testimony? Maybe we could clear this up as we proceed as well. Maybe the answer will be clear. I'm looking at applicant 11.
Yes.
That had the superimposed purple lines of the old existing buildings. And then I'm also looking at what's on the screen. Are we looking at one proposed storage building of 16,000 square feet, or are we looking at two storage buildings of 1440?
So I would direct your attention to A2. So what was on the screen was what was submitted with the application. And then, as I mentioned, the review letter came out, the building was revised to be broken into two. So we're actually replacing that exhibit with A2. So I apologize for not making that clear.
That's all right. And then these two buildings, looking like they will be used for the Pelican storage, correct?
Correct.
All right. The back of the 9,400 square foot has basically two loading docks for the tractor trailers.
Correct.
And what is the access, how are we getting into the 5,000 square foot storage building?
I don't want to cut you off, but Ms. Eberhardt's going to testify to that, and
Sure.
yeah, how about we address that with
Absolutely.
the engineer?
Yeah. I kind of prefaced my question with, this will probably be.
I don't
done
want to
pretty
cut
later.
you off, though.
Anything else, gentlemen?
No.
All right.
No.
Okay, so why don't you try to answer the
Yeah,
question?
we don't need tractor trailer to access that building.
The smaller building.
The smaller building, no.
You're saying that you don't
Yeah,
need that? Okay.
No.
So it looks like it's just kind of man doors in and out of that storage building?
Correct. Well, yeah, there's a door in the front, yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Let's proceed to the other testimony.
Okay, great. So Ms. Eberhardt's already been sworn. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Good evening, Estelle Eberhardt, a professional engineer, Estelle Eberhardt, professional engineer, senior project manager with Horizon Engineering, and one of the engineers tasked with developing this land development plan for Mr. Dale.
I
Yeah,
think,
we'll accept her.
thank you. I think you've had her before.
Thank
A3
you.
is her CV. Okay, great. So tell us what, I know that you were with Irick, Eberhardt, and Mientis, and now you're with Horizon Engineering, but the plans have remained consistent throughout that transition, correct?
That is correct.
Can you tell us, when I say you, I'm going to be referring to you in the royal sense. Tell me what you did in terms of developing these plans for Mr. Dale's project.
As typical for land development, we were tasked with doing a full boundary and topography of the site, taking that and analyzing it against the existing ordinances and preparing the layout, as you see here, with the proposed grading, supporting design for stormwater management, lighting, electric, storm water, et cetera, and preparing all the appropriate documents for submission and into the review cycle for the township.
You've been involved in that review process with the township engineer?
Yes, I have.
You're also familiar with the prior zoning decision that issued?
Yes, I am.
The property zoned PC and in the AC overlay, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Can you just orient us around the property, and I think you can use the plan on the screen, or you can use one of the exhibits, it's up to you, but just give us some of the features of the existing conditions in terms of access, parking areas, impervious areas, et cetera, and then continue on and talk about the proposed development. And again, if you want to
Okay,
use a
yes.
particular exhibit, just let us know what exhibit you're referring to.
A4 is the existing features plan.
Okay?
That shows the existing buildings that Jim testified about and the surrounding macadam, gravel, et cetera. The property is wider on the south side, about 400 feet, narrowing up to about 120 on the north side. Has frontage, of course, along West End Boulevard, Route 309, has a 60-foot ultimate right-of-way, so that starts to sneak into the property itself. The property slopes gently from the rear out to West End Boulevard. It's very heavily covered in impervious, either gravel, pavement, or buildings, to a tune about 50% of it currently. It has 3 access points onto 309 at this point, and as Jim noted, it's vacant now, but it was previously occupied by all these tenants, so there is traffic going in and out at various points along Route 309 frontage.
Can you just confirm that many of, or some of the existing buildings, and A11 might be the best exhibit, are non-conforming in terms of their location vis-à-vis property lines?
Yeah, that's correct.
Um,
As you noted, you can see the purple existing buildings. They encroach into the rear property line. In the car wash area, they encroach into the front property line. Oh, sorry. Generally within the front and side setback lines, they are within the buffer areas. The 100-foot buffer required off of the 309 right away, and the 100-foot buffer required off the rear of the property.
And the surrounding neighborhood along 309, there's some other commercial uses, correct?
That's correct.
And to the rear, there are some residential properties, correct?
That's correct.
And
That's correct.
those properties are zoned RA?
Yes.
All right. Tell us what the proposed changes are, beginning with the lot line adjustment and how that changes the size of the properties, and then talk about how each property will be used in terms of access, parking, those sorts of things.
Sure. The lot line adjustment you spoke about earlier, we are going to be taking away, taking away some property on the 007, the warehouse property, and adding to the 006, which is the car wash property.
So the warehouse property goes
Yeah, there were
from
2.6 to 2.2, and the car wash property goes from 3.7 down to 2.9.
Focusing on the warehouse property, describe how somebody would come in there versus what exists currently
Coming in,
into the warehouse property. How would they enter and access the buildings?
the proposed buildings,
Yes.
yeah, they would come in off the, let's see. We'll stick with A11. They'll have a new entrance off the 309 that provides access into the front parking spaces you spoke about, as well as access to the rear for the tailboard loading on the warehouse.
And would circulation be two-way on the access that's to the north of the buildings?
Yes, it would be.
So the tractor trailers would come in and then back into the larger warehouse
That's correct.
and then pull back out?
That's correct.
And you've designed this in a way that you've verified that the trucks can turn in those areas that are designed here, correct?
That's true. As part of the land development process, we provided the applicable turning radiuses and templates for the tractor trailer to access back there.
I see some areas marked as lawn. Are we restoring some impervious to pervious coverage on this lot?
Yes,
The buildings will both be under 35 feet, correct?
35 feet in height, correct, yes.
Okay, which is the maximum permitted in the district, right?
Correct.
And there's, on the plan A2, the revised site plan, we're showing some basins, detention basins in the front. Are those designed to provide stormwater facilities for both parcels?
They are.
Will there also be a safe, controlled access between the Pelican property and the warehouse property?
Yes,
Right now, it's sort of a free-for-all, correct?
it is kind of a free-for-all right now.
Okay.
That's correct.
And it'll be designed to have a clear delineation of where vehicles are supposed to go
Correct.
in and out of both properties, correct?
That's correct. It will all be paved and delineated correctly.
All right, let's move to the car wash property. And again, confirm that all the buildings are demolished and all of those non-conforming structures removed, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And then are we restoring some gravel area to lawn or grass?
Yes, a good portion of this lot north of the car wash will be converted to lawn. Right now, most of it is gravel. We foresee some sort of water quality, sort of swales, et cetera, to help with the stormwater requirements for the township.
Do you roughly know what the percentage is of change of impervious on that lot as a result of the restoration to lawn?
We're going down about 26%, and we're probably up into the 80s at previously.
So existing on this lot is about 80% impervious, and we're going down to a roughly 26%?
Correct, over, yes.
And that'll help with stormwater control on the property, water quality, et cetera?
Yes.
Tell us how you designed the car wash in terms of the location of the vacuums, the location of the tunnel, how cars come in and out. What made you design it this way, the size of the building, the number of cars that can stack? What did you do to determine that?
Well, most of this is under the direction and the guidance from the manufacturer, of course, or the experts at these type of buildings. You know, we are tasked then taking their typical template and turning requirements and connecting it to the public street in our particular situation. So the location was determined for best access, and the layout was determined to, maximize stacking of vehicles in the correct area rather than out in the street or along the driveways.
So when a car comes in off of 309, you have a sufficient distance before there's a turn for that car to enter the property safely without cars coming behind them and possibly causing an accident, correct?
Correct.
And then the flow would be that the car would continue, I guess, towards the west and then circle around to the two pay lanes, and then one car at a time would enter the tunnel for the car wash, correct?
That's correct.
And I note that the building is proposed at about 6,202 square feet, correct?
Correct.
And then the car would exit the tunnel and come out on the opposite side of the entrance and either go to the vacuums to the right or exit the property onto 309, correct?
Correct.
And you believe that that one entrance in and out is sufficient for this use?
Yes.
Okay. And you believe that there's sufficient stacking based upon the information provided by the manufacturer for the cars along the rear to be waiting for a wash?
Correct.
And that's the reason for 2 lanes as opposed to 1, correct?
Exactly.
All right. We are proposing trash removal on the property. Can you just point out where that is? And you may have to look at A2 unless you can see it on A11.
A2 might be.
I think A2 might be easier.
Yeah, as you enter the car wash facility, you'll see it on your right. So I would foresee in the front entry trash truck, it would easily turn into that dumpster area, pick them up and back up into the vacuum area and exit. And basically opposite that, should it be a rear loading facility, truck, I should say.
Okay. And again, you believe that's sufficient space for the trash truck to get in and out, correct?
Correct.
All right. I want to now focus on the variances, and just for the board's edification, the way I think it, we've got 10 variances here. This can get a little cumbersome. I'd like you to think about it in groups of 3, and that's how I'm going to go through it with Ms. Eberhardt. The first set of variances relate to setbacks on both properties, the buildings, the access drives, those sorts of things. The second group is the parking, which is just 1 variance. And then the third group relates to all the signage. So if we sort of think about it in those 3 groups, I think it'll be a little less cumbersome and hard to understand. So,
Can you repeat that again for me?
yes, so I'm focusing on the variances in 3 categories: setbacks, parking, and signs. And as we go through it, we should hit all of the sections, but rather than talk about each individual section necessarily, those are sort of the groups, okay? That's where I'm going with this, okay? So let's start with the setback variances on the warehouse property. And we have variances all under section 513 as well as 516. So 513 relates to the yard and rear and side yard requirements for the zoning district. And then 516 relates to the buffer, correct?
That's correct.
So I think we'll just use A11 real quick. Let's look at A11. And there's a red line. That's the building setback line, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And then we have this 100-foot buffer line, correct?
Correct.
And that's measured from the rear property line as well as the ultimate right-of-way on 309.
Correct, and that's shown in blue on this exhibit.
Very good, thank you. And then we have, as a result of that, we have really sort of two building envelopes, if you will. The red building envelope would be your typical setback envelope, and then the blue is your buffer envelope, if you will, right?
True, yes.
And you're not allowed to have any improvements in either of those areas, correct?
Correct.
All right. So the first is the access drive in the rear of the warehouse property. There's a required setback of 50 feet and the buffer of 100 feet, correct?
Correct.
What improvements are we showing in the buffer and setback?
We are showing the rear access to the tailboard loading area of the warehouse in the side and the rear yard setbacks.
And we have a side yard setback on that same property of 30 feet. And what are we intruding into the side yard setback?
We're intruding 6 to 10 feet into that area.
And that's with the access drive as well?
Yes.
So essentially, given the buffer, which is the greater setback, we would be limited to all of the improvements, including the access drives, the loading areas, the buildings, the parking, all within that blue box, if you will.
Correct.
Okay. Is it possible, in your opinion, to put all of the improvements necessary for this use, let alone other commercial uses, within that blue area?
No.
Why not?
Well, it would be extremely challenging to get the appropriate accesses. Well, number one, you have to get from a public street through those buffer setbacks and buffers and into the building areas. So to try to get that to work is essentially impossible.
And you need the rear access to the buildings, not only for the deliveries, but also for fire safety?
Correct.
I know that we're adjusting the lot line a little bit over. Does that lot line increase or make the variance worse?
No.
Okay. Is it possible to adjust the angle of the building or the size of the building to fit in there? Would you still need relief from the access drives?
Yes, you still would.
Okay. Do you believe that the access drive being located in both the side yard and the rear yard would have any detrimental impact on the surrounding properties in the area?
No.
Let's look at the car wash property, and we have a variance from section 513 and likewise from 516 2C, which we amended the application to include. Again, same situation. The blue line shows the buffer line, the red line shows the setback line. This is a much more difficult situation given the shape of the property, correct?
Correct.
Much less area to build the improvements in. I'll ask the same question. Is it possible to develop this property with any commercial use without some zoning relief?
It is not.
And in this case, we have the access stacking, I'll call it, driveway in both the setback and the buffer, correct?
Yes.
And we have a small portion of the lower left corner of the car wash building outside of the buffer line, correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right. You would agree that the shape of that car wash property constitutes an unreasonable hardship?
Yes.
For both of these properties, there was relief granted in the prior decision that required the installation of some buffering along the property line to the rear as well as in the front and throughout the site. You're familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
And as a part of the plan that was submitted with the land development application, your company has shown that buffering that was a condition of the 2000 zoning decision to satisfy that requirement, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Is it your opinion that the installation of whatever buffering we can get in there will minimize the impact of the access drive, the building, and the other features that are in that setback?
Correct.
All right. Let's now focus on the warehouse property parking variance, and that's under section 541.9. the G3 use, which is the warehouse use, would require, under the circumstances, 15 spaces for these buildings,
Correct,
and we're showing 9, correct?
correct.
You heard Mr. Dale's testimony regarding his anticipated use of the property, correct?
Yes,
All right. The ordinance also, it says 1 space per 1,000 square feet of gross floor area plus 1 space per 300 square feet for office or retail. Mr. Dale does not intend to have any office or retail, correct?
that is correct.
So your calculation is purely on the gross floor area of the warehouse.
Yes, correct.
In your experience, when you have experience designing warehouse properties,
Yes.
you've worked with applicants who are building warehouses, what is the typical need for parking at a warehouse?
Again, it tends to be very minimal, particularly if it's just the employees that are, moving equipment or items in and out of it relative to the larger part of the development.
And would there typically be visitors to warehouses?
No, it's usually just the delivery trucks that come into a specific spot, unloaded and leave.
Given Mr. Dale's intended use of the property, and as he described it, do you anticipate any issues arising with the result of having 6 fewer spaces than required?
No, I do not.
Likewise, if he were to sell the building and to a third party who used it differently than him, do you think 9 spaces would be sufficient for the size buildings that are proposed?
Yes, it should be.
And certainly, if someone were to change the nature of the use, they could be required to come back to this board and get additional relief or modify the decision, correct?
That's correct.
All right, let's now focus on the sign variances. And I want to start with the freestanding sign that's being proposed. Your office prepared the plan that was the sign permit plan, correct?
Correct.
And that one is up on the screen if you want to refer to that. How did you arrive, or what are the things that you consider when you're developing the location of signage?
Primarily, of course, location to make sure that the sign is visible to proposed clients and visitors is the primary need, as well as, of course, safety and relative to the placement of that sign.
So the signs that are proposed, there's a pylon sign proposed in front of both properties, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And neither of those signs interfere with the required clear sight triangle?
That's correct, yes.
All right. Does the fact that the road that the property fronts on, the type of road that it is, in this case, 2 lanes, both directions, heavily traveled, cars going at maximum speed, affect the design of the signs that are installed?
Yes, of course, because the higher speed, you're going to want a sign of the highest and best size to capture the number when they're interested and allow them the ability to slow down to enter the facility.
And do you believe that the sign proposed at 182 square feet is necessary for people to see the property in sufficient time to be able to slow down safely and enter the property?
Yes.
Do you think there's any material difference between the 182 and the 150 that it would be necessary to go any smaller?
Ask that again, sorry.
I'm sorry, the 182 you said is necessary for people to see coming into the property, correct?
Yes.
And you believe that's necessary so that people can adequately slow down and enter the property safely?
Yes.
Likewise, there's an ordinance provision that says that the incidental signs are permitted as the maximum is 2 square feet. Can you tell us what incidental signs are?
Oh, yeah, incidental signs were the sort of the directional signs guiding folks in where to enter the stacking lanes, et cetera, and exit. So it's the larger size allows them to be more visibly and easily seen to prevent, again, confusion and people being too slow or being each other's way, trying to maneuver through this facility.
So when somebody enters the property from 309, you want signs that are sufficiently sized so they know immediately where they need to go.
Correct.
Now, we asked for a variance to allow additional freestanding signs if the incidental signs are approved. And that means that if the incidental signs are greater than 2 feet, they by definition become freestanding signs under the ordinance. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. And so we have, in this case, incidental signs that include, let's see, can we go through these real quick?
We have one way, we have no parking, we have stop signs. So what I remember quickly here.
Do not enter sign.
Correct.
And that's important so that when people enter, they know that exactly where to go
Correct.
without delaying at the
Yes.
entrance, correct?
Yes.
All right. The ordinance also prohibits signs in the buffer yard, correct?
That's correct.
And is it feasible to have signs in this instance, outside of the buffer?
No, again, it would be out of the field of view of those traveling north and south on 309, so it wouldn't be an effective sign.
You would effectively have the sign sort of up against the building, if you will, and as people were traveling along the highway, they would only see it sort of at the last minute.
That's correct, yes,
And you believe for safety purposes, it needs to be out towards the street.
correct.
Likewise, signs are not permitted in a 100-foot setback from West End Boulevard. Same answer, correct?
Yes,
And that's under section 604, the AC overlay, correct?
yes.
All right. Just 1 second, please. Just briefly, the warehouse is also proposing a pylon sign that's in compliance with that's 140 square foot maximum, correct?
Correct, yes.
All right, I want to talk to you about the standards for variance application in general, and in a general sense, do the variances that are being proposed collectively, all of them, in your opinion, would they have any detrimental effect on the surrounding neighborhood?
No,
And you are aware that in the prior decision that the board in that case noted that the location of the existing buildings, uniqueness of the tract, would require granting of some variances. Do you agree with the board's prior opinion in that regard?
yes, I do.
Can you tell us what some of the factors are, the unique physical circumstances of the property that create a hardship for the applicant?
Oh, yeah, as we discussed previously, it's a kind of a uniquely shaped site with the frontage along northwest End Boulevard, Route 309. We have a relatively, the widest part of the property on the south side is about 400 feet. You're quickly taking away 200 feet of that with the buffer, and as you transition up to the north side, you lose another 200 feet or so of lot width. So by the time you add the buffers in there and the setbacks, the required setbacks off the ultimate right-of-way of 309, as well as the rear property lines, you're met with the limited developable areas that we saw here in regards to the buffer and the setback lines.
And the car wash property in particular, you're really required to sort of jam everything towards the southern end of the property, correct?
That is correct.
And even in that instance, given the buffer, 100-foot buffers from both front and rear, there's very limited space to develop the property effectively, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
You believe that the proposed improvements are the minimum relief necessary for reasonable use of the property?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe that given the decrease in impervious, the cleanup of the property, the elimination of non-conforming buildings, that overall this represents an improvement to the layout of the property?
Yes, I do.
In fact, you wouldn't design a property today with the buildings in the position that they're in now, would you?
That is correct.
And you agree that the applicant has not created the hardship in this case?
Yes, correct.
And is it possible to develop the property with these permitted uses without some zoning relief?
No, it would not be, in my opinion.
Those are all the questions that we have for Ms. Eberhardt.
Thank you. Does the board have any follow-up?
Yes, I have a question. I guess it goes to the second request for the variance for the proposed driveway and the setback, building setback. The lot line, you're already readjusting that sideline lot line. Why isn't it farther to the north so that you don't need that variance? I mean, if you move that lot line to the north, you wouldn't need the variance, would you?
Well, then you would have to need the variance for the car wash facility, depending upon the location of that lot line.
Would you, I mean, I'm looking at, that seems to be more than, I mean, is it? I mean, look at the lot line, I mean, just not, why, I mean, even, I mean, it looks like it could be moved far enough to the north so that neither of those two driveways would be in the side yards.
It could be a possibility. We could take a look at it.
I mean, I mean, it's not an existing lot, you're creating that lot line, I mean, you're creating it to straighten out the lot, I guess, so you don't have that angle. I just wonder why it wasn't moved farther to the north. I mean, that's,
To put this in.
that's the only reason you need that variance for the side yard, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's my only question right now, is why that,
Why that's there, when we could
yeah, why
engineer a
that,
different
why
solution.
couldn't have been moved up and you wouldn't need that variance? Because you're creating that hardship now, because that lot line wasn't there. You've moved the lot line, which means you're creating that hardship on that property. I mean, it's hard to say you're not creating that hardship.
Possibly. No, he's saying if we, you're saying if we,
I guess the question is, are you saying don't move the line at all?
No, I'm just going, well, you're moving the lot line, so this
Yeah.
is something you're doing.
Right.
But you're moving it so far to the south that you now have created a variance necessary for that driveway. If you didn't move it that far to the south, would you still need a variance?
You'd need it from the other side.
Would you? I mean, I don't see, I mean, it doesn't look like that's even in these. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the distance. I mean.
distance is going to be close. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't look the same. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks like it's shorter. I mean, I didn't know, I'm just questioning, I mean, since you're creating this lot line, and part of it is it can't be self-created, I just want to make sure that there's a reason.
Yeah, I'd have to check the zone. Hold on for a sec. Hold on for a sec. I got to see if there's a requirement on the lot area that set that up as well.
Well, is it possible to create that lot line to minimize any, I mean, move it to the north so that it would minimize that setback? I mean, you know, also we have to look at, is it the minimum that is necessary?
The other thing that, and I'll have to look at this, the other thing that would set this common lot line up is we have on the car wash side, we have the sanitary septic system is going to be in that easement right in the front. You can see it labeled on, look at A11, which is a larger printout of the
Yeah.
development. We try to contain the sanitary system within one lot. If you start moving
Okay,
that lot.
that easement is between I didn't actually see where that easement was, whether it's in the front or, that runs down the side?
It's going to run the side and the front, yeah. So we're trying to tuck it into one, the warehouse, or sorry, the car wash lot.
And not have it split between the two.
Correct. So we need
Is
all
that
the,
sanitary only for the car wash, or will it be for both lots?
just the car wash.
So that would be like, what, their lateral coming in, or? I mean, what's the easement for? I mean, why do you need a sanitary easement if it's just for,
Because it'll be on lot septic. Yes.
It's not public.
It's not public
oh,
sewer.
okay.
Yeah, so we need to contain that within the lot on the, of the car wash.
Improvements, because it's just storage.
Okay, well, okay, so the sanitary, that's a easement for your sanitary system,
Correct.
one lot Sanitary system, okay. Okay, I see, all right, okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, I see, IBT exists. Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Lebowski, can we kind of revisit what might have been said about applicant 10A10, prior zoning decision from May 5th, 2000, and how that applies?
Yes, so, and I may ask Rich to chime in on this, but our understanding is that the relief that was granted in that applies, that carries forward, relates to the front of the property. The building location and the parking in the front, because they're maintained at the same location as a prior application, that we don't need variances for those. Likewise, if we comply with the condition associated with the buffering that was made a condition of that decision, which we are, we don't need relief from any additional buffer requirements. I believe those are the only two carryovers.
That's correct, and I have spent some time through the process making that determination prior to that Peter Cilio plan of 2000 that was submitted. They had showed the rendering of the buffer plantings and the relief that was outlined in that. So in my review, and again, our township engineer has reviewed this plan, starting with the sketch plan through the process. It was agreed that those certain conditions would apply from the prior decision.
And we comply, and we've shown them on the landscape plan that's a part of the land development submission. If you want that as a part of the record, I made copies. I can mark those as A12 and hand those up if you want.
I don't think we need them.
Okay. And certainly it can be, the condition can be reiterated, and
Right.
we're going to comply. But yeah, the only other would be the setbacks in the front. We don't ask for any relief from the front. Those get to carry over, but not the rear, because they were different distances from the rear.
The only thing that kind of bugs me is going over the size of the big sign out front. The township decided to make a number, and now you want to change it. I
We
don't know.
understand.
Just kind of,
Yeah, we understand.
kind of gets me there. That's
Yep.
the only thing that does, though.
I have no response to that.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. That's okay. But
Yeah, I could kind of follow up on, like, especially in, like, it's not very, there's not a lot of site obstructions in that corridor. I mean, there's a tree line between the properties to the north where the towing place is. I think it's a fairly flat section. There's not, hills blocking view, anything like that. Not obviously they're turning in.
I'll be candid, I'm not going to fight you on that.
so if we made a,
Could
what is
it comply?
I think, we don't, I'm sure it could. I mean,
Okay. all right.
it is what it is. It's not much different, but I
I
get
know.
it. I understand.
Is it gonna ruin someone's day too?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Cook, do you have any
No.
further questions? All right, I think that's it for the board's questions for the testimony.
We have nothing else to present. We just asked for the admission of A1 through A11, and again, appreciate the board's attention and patience through this. It's kind of a lot going on, so
Mhm.
thank you.
I appreciate how you delivered it with regards to the three kind of separate packets.
Thanks.
We do have two audience members. They're shaking their heads no. There is no further questions from the audience. All right, we'll take a brief recess to discuss the case. Thank you.
Well, the one was, they can't change those 2x2 with 2 square foot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
There's a lot. Yeah, I don't, yeah, there is a lot.
But you have to do this.
Right.
You don't want it for keepsake?
To see it.
I think you should keep it just in case. No.
Well,
That's not right.
it's not here. That's not this.
That's not fun.
They're going in all over.
Both access drives.
And that access drive, that was what clarified.
I'm gonna give you the thumb drive.
They created a lot line, and then they say, we're gonna put a new lot line in here, and now we need a variance. Okay, they do it because of.
And I don't think they.
There you go. It won't have a, oh, it does have a.
No, yeah, I didn't, I saw that second time.
Yep, yep, it's up to date.
I thought it was a sound.
Do you wanna exhibit
Like
that?
a public. No, yeah, that wasn't in the right of.
Just check it.
No, thank you.
Some want one.
No,
Okay.
I usually only need things like that if I have to transcribe it,
Just want to make sure.
so I'm usually
I'm guessing you're not gonna need to.
The rest.
90% unless it gets appealed. Usually if it gets denied and then appealed, then I can count on probably.
I know, I'm like.
I hang on to it for a while, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
If it's ever needed. Now, if it's not, they can.
We have a CC sound.
If it's not, they can get it released.
Yeah, it goes right to the computer. Yeah, and I have software that I had to build a dictionary, so it would go with my writing, yeah. There's a basic theory, yes, yeah, and then you kind of like conform, because you hear words or there's names and to define
They're
it.
saying that you have a setback in the side yard, but it's side yard to your
Didn't we
property.
deal with this with the car?
For Pennsylvania, you just have to be a
Yes,
notary.
yes, I remember.
For other state, every state has a different, right. But yes, I have associate's degree, like you have to
Right.
But in this case, you have to be separate. So I agree.
court reporting.
Oh, you
Yeah.
could, oh, no, you can.
Yeah, you can't, that's not, you can't get a master's, so then you just kind of get the letters afterwards. So if you get certified to be real-time reporter or registered professional reporter, so you have to take tests and,
Yeah.
yeah, do different things.
That was clarified that they were creating.
Yeah, so then you would have to get your credits and every year get your C, continuing,
Yeah.
and, yeah, to keep that, be part of the association, pay this, pay that. Essentially. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this makes it
No.
Maybe not, actually, at least they went through everything. I mean, every now and then we.
Yeah, I'm pretty behind. Yeah, I,
Exactly. You know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, every now and then we read it too.
Yeah.
I still have my old machine with paper. Yeah.
How would we do that? Is that like?
I'm happy with what I have. I don't need to,
The condition.
no, I mean, there are voice writers, but they're not court reporters. So there are people who will sit and like repeat everything that everyone's saying, which is very odd. Like it's not, a lot of courtrooms will use audio and they'll have a person, it's recording on the computer and they're kind of editing it as it goes along.
There's an
It's
accident.
not the same thing as typing the steno.
Oh, great.
So, I don't know. Closed captioning on TV is a court reporter too,
You
yeah.
know, they're gonna be slowing down, well, people that's, they know there's a.
I mean, I think they just have different, I've seen machines where it's
Yes.
like
Because there's some traffic.
a laptop.
Well, it's
Too far out of
Through the
town.
middle of town.
And if you're looking
Too
for.
far out of
Traffic.
town.
Is that one of
And
those
they
things
probably have
that
ones that are
lights up there?
wireless, I could hook up
Besides, so where do
Bluetooth, I don't know.
live?
This isn't down.
Well, and even on the software, they have whatever version they're up to. It doesn't do that, you know, after a certain point, it can only, it does so much.
Nothing
you
worse
know,
than,
so.
slowing down, figuring that left lane.
Get in there.
Yeah,
Maybe we have an ordinance,
Right.
that's the township ordinance, that's big enough.
it's just like my computer's still Windows 10 and I'm hearing now it's not gonna update to Windows 11, so I'm like, oh, that's great, gotta get a new laptop, you know, phones, they don't have batteries anymore, so when it dies, then you gotta get a new phone.
No, there were the nine,
I say
also
that
one,
on, that's not bad.
oh,
Right.
9 out of 10.
Yes.
We were
That's a
gonna
good
do the
percentage.
tenth one.
Oh, yeah.
I know, right, and
The
that's
tenth
what
one
it
was
is,
just a,
because
Oh,
I
yeah.
do,
Well,
I do
it
taxes,
applies
and
to the.
TurboTax this year won't go on the computer unless it went was 11, and I checked my computer, and I'm like, I'm only in Windows 10. I'm like,
I got some clarity.
yeah.
We have one clarifying question.
Well,
Attorney Lebowski, you mentioned at the beginning of the testimony, you kind of threw in, slid in, or you felt it was appropriate, whatever terms you want to use. A 10th variance,
Yeah.
we're losing track of it. Which one was that one for?
It's 5162C,
The car wash building, portion of the building, and
the access, in the buffer, in the rear buffer.
Got it.
5162C.
All right, and that's number 10.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's the same variance on the warehouse property, but on the car wash property.
So you're looking to copy and paste number 3
No.
to be number 10?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but with the other property.
Wasn't that, the 8 says it's allowed signs within the required buffer on both parcels.
Look at number 3.
Well, I'm thinking, is it 8 or 3? Is it signs or driveways?
It's driveways.
Oh, okay, driveways, okay, driveways. I thought you said, okay,
It's building and driveway.
okay, driveway.
So it's 3, just like 3.
Okay, I thought it was like 8, sorry.
Do you want to do it or you want me to do it?
I'll do it.
Rich and I spent some quality time
I'll do it.
working on this, especially with the sign. Drives me crazy.
Well, it makes approval and denial. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
And then we'll approve all the
Okay, that way, because if you make the impact.
with the condition that we deny the other one.
I mean, we did deny the parcel. We could just make one,
Make one
a motion to approve,
Deny.
denying the variance request for, well, all requests except one.
And you have to state.
Now, wait, 10 gets thrown into.
Yes.
Right,
Except
All of them, yeah, okay.
That's number
Is that all right?
Top of number 5.
Make a motion to not to accept the grant. All of them except. Is that included?
Right.
Or is it all include the amended one?
Anyone to allow car wash and access areas.
Okay, okay. All right, okay, we're ready then. Yep.
All right, we're back from recess. We have discussed the case. Is there a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion that we grant all the variances, including the variance request to, I guess, amend the third one to allow the buffer yard encroachment on both lots, but deny the variance request of the fifth request for the variance of 27.911.1A to allow the freestanding sign of 150 square feet to be 182. And that one, I recommend we deny.
I second it.
All right, so a motion and second, if I'm clear on everything. Motion is to approve all the requested variances except for number 5, which was the one regarding the 180 square foot parcel, or 182 square feet freestanding sign.
Correct.
All right, motion and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks very much. Appreciate
Good
it.
luck. And we need to work to close the meeting.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next meeting is, Mr. Brittingham, March 5th. All right, thank you. Meeting adjourned, 8:55 PM.
Amazing. Took all that stuff up tonight.
How's the hip, John?
Still there?
Good?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, haven't seen you guys since,
No.
that was like the end of August.
I know.
For a while there, it was kind of touch and go.
surgery?
I can't go through